Clemson, South Carolina. I work at Clemson University here. And the focus of the meditation today would be the sixth center, the Agnya Chakra. So we will talk more about the chakra itself as we get into the meditation. But yeah, as you can see in this chart, the left and the right energy channels, the blue and the yellow, they go up and they cross each other behind the forehead. That's where the Agnya Chakra is. And the left goes to the right and becomes, or rather, the right channel goes to the left side of the head, the left and the back side of the head, and becomes it goes to the left and front side of the head. And that's the institution that we know as the ego. And the left channel goes to the right and the back side of the head. And that's the institution that psychologists have called as superego, which consists of all of our conditionings and attachments and things coming from the past, from our ancestors, all of the sense of identity that comes from anything from the past. That is the superego. And the ego is just that sense of I-ness and that comes from any identification with our thinking, our actions, our words, and so on. So the Agnya Chakra is sort of the last, you can say, hurdle before, not hurdle, but the last step before the Kundalini reaches the Sahasrara, where self-realization happens, where that reconnection with the all-pervading power happens. And the best way to dissolve that is by dissolving the ego, or you open that chakra by dissolving the ego and superego, which happens by the mantra of forgiveness. When we let go of that need to hold on to anything, either from the past or the future. So, and there are different facets to this chakra because it has a certain significance on the front side of the head, on the back side of the head, on the left side, on the right side, because the two institutions, the ego and superego, they cover all the four sides of the head. So we look at all of those aspects today and how to address any issues that might come up with any part of the Agnya Chakra. And hopefully we'll all have a nice meditation. So if you have your footsoak set up ready, that's great. If not, let's take maybe a couple of minutes to get ready, and we will start with the footsoak. So please have a tub of water and salt and some fresh water on the side. So let us begin. Hands on our lap, palms facing upward. Let's become aware of where our attention is, what the state of the mind is, how we're feeling on our hands. Let's become aware of our breathing. Let's bring our attention more inward. And we can bring the you can check at any point in between, whenever you feel like. Check with the other hand too. So let's begin by raising the Kundalini 3 times and balancing the 2 sides 7 times. Let's have nice, slow flowing motions of the hand. These are not just mechanical movements, but the energy is actually flowing with our attention. We're just guiding our attention and the energy with nice fluid movements. In fact, you should start to feel more of a flow through your hands, through your head, after you take the bandhan, because the energy is now flowing much more. So with our attention at the top of our head, let's vibrate the water and the salt with clockwise motions of the hand over the water. We're asking Divine to imbue this water and salt with the qualities of the ocean, the sea, which has that infinite power to absorb. Let the water and the salt be vibrated. And now we can put both our feet inside. Let's see how we're feeling on our hands. Can we feel that balance between the left and the right? Or is one And now let's bring the right hand down towards the earth. Let it hang by your side. Here we're connecting with Mother Earth, placing the right hand on her or toward her. And we ask, Mother, Please take away anything that is weighing down my left side, my left energy channel. Please remove any undue influences from my subconscious, from the past. If there's anything that is keeping me from being in the present, that I'm not conscious of, I surrender it to you. The Kundalini knows everything, more than what I'm conscious of. So I surrender to that power. Asking her to cleanse my left side, to dispel any darkness, to enlighten the left channel, so that I may feel the joy, the pure joy of the Spirit. The left channel begins at the Muladhara Chakra, the first chakra. So we ask Mother Earth, Mother, please balance our Muladhara. Mula means root, Dhara means support. This is the foundation of our entire subtle system. And when we have a strong and balanced foundation, we can sustain our ascent, our growth. So let the qualities of innocence and wisdom be enlightened in me. Let the four petals of the Muladhara shine with all their qualities. Innocence, wisdom, fearlessness, and a sense of harmony with nature, with the world. And a sense of humility. So that we may feel that true, blissful joy. We can bring the right hand back on our lap. Hopefully, you're able to feel some difference on your left hand. If you're feeling some tingling earlier, it might have come down. If there was not much of a flow, perhaps there is some movement or a cool breeze flowing. If not, no worries. We can come back to this later. Let's now clear the right side. So we'll raise the left hand towards the sky. Let all the excess heat generated on my right energy channel because of all the thinking escape into the air, escape into the ether. Which has an immense capacity to absorb. Our being is made up of the 5 elements. We are part of the five elements. So we're feeling that connection within us. And invoking the power of each of these elements. To clear ourselves and to balance ourselves. Let my attention be soothed. Let it cool down. Let my thoughts settle down and disappear. Let me be in the present. Let me give up any worrying, any anxiety about what's going to happen. We are here now to just enjoy being the self, to get in touch with ourselves. And our connection with the all-pervading power. So let my attention be steady, steadily in the present. Can bring the left hand down. We can put both the hands towards the earth. Mother Earth, let any remaining imbalances or blockages on my chakras be removed. I surrender these to you. Please give me the state of meditation. Can bring your hands back. We can smooth the right hand around the stomach, the entire abdominal region. This is called as the Bhavasagara, or the ocean of illusion, that encompasses the second and the third chakras. This is where the Guru principle is established in us. It is created by the circular movement of the Kundalini around this region. So let the Guru principle be fully established in me. Let my Guru principle be purified. Let any falsehood, any false knowledge be removed. Make me my own master. I am my own master. Can bring a hand back. Just keep our attention at the top of our head. Just remain in a state of thoughtless awareness. Let go of any thought without trying to resist it. Just witness it. Without being identified with it. we can now conclude the foot soak segment. So let's rinse off both our feet, take them out, and then we will dispose the water and come back and settle down in about a couple of minutes. Now, for the next segment, we will meditate and we will see how we can open our Agnya Chakra. But if you can get a candle like this, so just a candle holder, if you have it with you, please, if you can bring it, that'll be great. If you don't, no problem at all. You can just watch how we do the candle or use the candle for the Agnya Chakra today. And you can do it at a separate time or do it the next time. So let's again settle down. Just keep our attention at the top of our head. See how you're feeling. So as I was mentioning earlier, the beginning of the session, the Agnya Chakra has two petals, and it's also where the left and the right energy channels cross each other. The left goes to the right goes to the left, and they become the ego and the superego, which are balloon-like structures. And when we are able to deflate these balloons, so to speak, they become smaller, then the space between them increases, it widens. And that's how the Agnya Chakra opens and allows the Kundalini to pass through into the Sahasrara. And the best mantra, or the best way to open the Agnya Chakra, is the mantra of forgiveness, which is what Sri Mataji has taught. That's why we say I forgive here when we get our self-realization, or just before we get our self-realization. Now, this Agnya Chakra has a facet on the left side of the head, on the right side of the head, and the back of the head. Because the right channel, which goes to the left side of the head, it goes to the left and the front. And the left channel that goes to the right side of the head also goes to the back side of the head. So the front, we usually say, I forgive. At the back, we ask the divine for forgiveness. Please forgive me if I have made any mistakes. But the back Agnya is also associated with our eyesight, our vision. And it's also related to the past, because the left channel is related to the past. So certain influences coming from the past, our subconscious, or even our family and ancestors can sometimes accumulate in the back Agnya and obstruct the path of the Kundalini. So for the back Agnya, we tend to use the candle, the flame of the candle, and look at Sri Mataji's bindi, or the dot on her head, and meditate, because that helps clear the back Agnya. Even in biology, neurology, it is known that the actual processing of the vision happens at the back of the head, back of the brain. So we see with our eyes, the rays come in through the eyes, but we really see from the back of the brain. So by looking through the flame, we are actually clearing the back Agnya as well. So let's bring our attention to the top of the head again. And let's listen to a speech where Sri Mataji talks about some of the basic qualities of the Agnya Chakra. And then after that, we will work on clearing the Agnya Chakra and meditating.
Today we are talking about the sixth chakra called as Agnya Chakra. The Gya words means to know. Gya is to know. And A means the whole. Agnya Chakra also has another meaning. Agya. Agya means obedience or to order. It can mean both the things. If you order to someone, it is an Agnya, and the one who obeys the order is an Agyakari, and the one who does the Agnya. This sixth chakra was created in the human beings when he started thinking. Thinking is language expressed. If we do not have a language, we cannot think. But it does not mean there is no thought coming into us. If we cannot express it, it does not mean there is no thought process working in us. But at that certain stage, when the thoughts are coming to us, they are not in language. So they are not communicated to us. And that's why if we do not have language, we cannot understand what we are thinking. That's why you must have seen children cannot communicate to us what they want because they cannot say what they are wanting. They feel the urge in the stomach and they want to ask for, say, water or something, but they can't say it to us. And that's why they cannot think what they have to say about. But afterwards, when you start thinking and putting it into language, that language is stored in our brain, as shown in the picture on the left-hand side and also on the right-hand side, of that yellow and black. Then it comes back to us later on as thought waves, as if somebody is talking to us. But before the language starts, we can call it the inspiration or the thought process at the very early stage comes to us in certain forms. And those forms are in light and shade. They are not in language, but in light and shade. And after coming to Sahaja, if you go deep into your thoughts, you'll find they are nothing but lights and shade that are covering our Agnya Chakra. One after another, a light and shade like a circular lighthouse, they give a kind of a pattern in our head. Now these patterns are molded into language by us at a very early stage, and these are sort of filled into the cups of language, and then these cups are kept reserved in the brain and they come to us that way. When we think, we really understand it because it's a language that comes to us. So what happens to the animals? Do they think or not? They get a thought, an inspiration. But they won't be just thinking about it. Now these inspirations come to them as words when they start living with human beings. So these inspirations go into the thought again, as we do. For example, you give somebody a name, say you call him say Tom or something you call a dog. So now he knows that this word means calling me. So he connects himself with that word. But when he does not have the word, when he is just an animal, he's just there, he doesn't think. That's why they are very spontaneous and we are not. Animals are extremely spontaneous, but because they do not think the way we think. And this has created the greatest problem for human beings, how to get beyond thoughts. a little complicated thing because perhaps I can see that very clearly as you cannot see the light. And then the light forms the language. And then language, according to us, becomes our thoughts. But these thoughts are really conditionings on us, and they are not inspired things. They are not coming from inside, and that's why we are not spontaneous. For example, if I am sitting here, now I cannot keep quiet as a human being. I'll be thinking about something. I'll be thinking, what am I going to say? Then should I say this or not? Or if I say this, will that be all right or not? Will that go into their heads or not? All sorts of thoughts will be coming into my head. Then from one side, I will be questioning myself. From the other side, the answers will be coming. All right, you say this, and if you say like this, they may appreciate you. Go this way, that way, they will understand. Like that. You see, so the sorting out goes on in our brain through our experiences of this lifetime of ours. Whatever have been our experiences in this lifetime, in dealing with people, in getting experiences from others, all these are conditioned into our brain. And the whole thing becomes a thought process which comes to us through this interaction of thought and action and thought. We just start weighing which action to take, what thought to be put in, how to solve it, and we think we are analyzing ourselves. It's a very, very superficial thing. Actually, you do not analyze anything whatsoever. You do not. As I told you the other day, you do not do anything. So your thinking is nothing but a bubbling going on. Because when, like a sea even, which is so deep down, so quiet, when it touches the shore, it has a action and reaction. In the same way, when you are seeing at something, because your attention is outside, immediately a thought wave is created out of that, which goes back and gives you all the images about it, whatever you know about that particular thing, and it comes back to you as a thought process. It's going on all the time. And it can be so maddening that we cannot stop our thoughts. It just goes on like mad. You don't know, you can't sleep because thoughts are coming. Sometimes they could be horrifying, sometimes they are gratifying, sometimes romantic, sometimes absolutely negative, sometimes very positive, sometimes you feel I must do this, sometimes you feel I shouldn't do this. But when you actually do, you do not think. It's surprising, we never notice that when we are doing that particular thing, supposing I say I am going to speak, these things. Now when I have thought about it, that I thought say about 10 minutes before, when I am speaking it, I am not thinking that what I was going to speak. Because that time I think and built in that process of thinking into my brain and put it somewhere stored, and then now when I have started this flow, that is coming directly. So human beings have developed, I should say, a process which can be a very sickening thing, very, very sickening. And this comes out of both of these. Is one, the left side that we call the ego, which has gone this side, and the right side we call the superego. All the conditioning on the right hand side of the superego gives us the fears, the dangers, the possibilities, whatever we have experienced before. As they say, those who have been burnt by milk also take a cold drink after blowing it a little. Because you have been burnt, you know something liquid has burnt you, so you think maybe this may also burn your tongue. So you may try to do that. It is so spontaneous that time that you feel that, oh, it's very spontaneous, but it is not. It has been stored before in your experiences and something there that you are afraid of, and that's why you do it. If you once realize that this thought process is absolutely not necessary for us to exist, there is no need to have any thought about the future or about the past if you want to exist as human beings. Animals do not bother. For example, animals know that they are going in the jungle. Now suddenly they find some other animal coming from there, and they know that you have to attack. Now what's the use of thinking about the animal that is going to come? Supposing it does not come, then it's such a waste. But they have a hole here, and they have no problem as we have, because they have a hole, the whole thing goes out. It doesn't stick for more than a minute. But you can condition them. Also, by experiences they are conditioned. By experiences that they have had so far about other animals and things, they are conditioned, and they act accordingly. So there's a tremendous difference between us and them, is that we think about everything. I mean, we think it's a very great thing to sit down and think about. And we think it's very wise to sit down and think about it. Any problem comes in, we think better sit down and think about it. But now what do we do when a problem arrives? We think about it in relation to whatever we have been doing before and whatever our experience have been. In the same way, they want to think about Sahaj Yoga. Now you cannot think about Sahaj Yoga. First of all, you become thoughtlessly aware in Sahaj Yoga to begin with. You cannot think. But it is a happening about which you cannot think. It's a living happening. Thinking is a dead movement. It's not a living movement. Whatever is dead in us comes back to us as thought. Inspiration is living, not the thinking. Inspiration is very different from the thought. For example, books are in the library. Everything that we have thought of or have got it or experienced is in the books. Whatever is new coming to us is the inspiration. Now just find out how many new things you are thinking. Perhaps not even a sentence. Mostly we say that this gentleman said so, that gentleman said so, that gentleman said so, or I said so. I mean said. If you can think about that is coming, just coming to you, you don't have to think for it, it just comes in. It is inside you, it just emerges and expresses itself. So that is the spontaneous living thing. That is what we call as inspiration, is a sudden glimpse of the knowledge that we get. But whatever we have thinking about is all the play of the dead.
So let's see where our thoughts are coming from. Or if we are thoughtlessly aware. Let's place the right hand across the forehead, bend the head down slightly, and gently press both sides of the head near the temples. And here we say, I forgive. I forgive everyone, and I forgive myself. whether we forgive or not forgive, we are not doing anything to anybody else. But when we do not forgive, it is just us who is carrying the burden. We do not need to have to carry the burden of an incident after it has occurred. We have the freedom to let go and be free of it. So let us choose that freedom by letting go, by forgiving. And bring the hand back. The Agnya Chakra is reflected on the ring fingers of both hands. So the right, if you feel a tingling sensation or heat on the right index finger, then it means there is some pressure on the right Agnya, which is actually on the left side of the head. Because, as I said, the right channel goes to the left side. So if you're feeling any tingling or heat on the right index finger, you can place the left hand on the left side of the head. Just put some pressure. And here we say, I'm not the ego. I surrender. To the all-pervading power. I am not even a speck in this vast expanse of the universe. And I am free to be one with it. Let me humble down. And you'll feel the Kundalini passing through into the Sahasrara. Now, if you feel any tingling or a pulling sensation or even heat or numbness on the left ring finger, then it indicates some pressure, some obstruction on the left Agnya, which is on the right side of the head. So for this, if you're feeling it, then you can place the right hand on the right side of the head. Just put some pressure here, almost like pushing that balloon back in. And here we can say, I am free of any conditionings and attachments. My identification is not with my past. I'm identified only with the spirit, with that ultimate reality. I'm free of all conditionings from the past. I'm free of all ties and bonds to, let's say, family expectations, traditions, rituals that have nothing to do with reality, with my ascent. I am the pure spirit. You can bring a hand back. You can also use the candle, like I mentioned earlier. If you're feeling any pressure or heat on the right side of the head or the back of the head. So the way we do that is we keep the flame in front of the eyes, and we can look at Shri Mataji's bindi, the red dot on her forehead, looking through the flame. So if you're feeling, now if you're feeling hot on the right index, right ring finger, then do not do this. But if you're feeling any type of lethargy or dullness, melancholy, depression, this treatment is very helpful. You can also bring the flame to the right side of the head like this, and just move the flame back and forth. Just like we give a bandhan to ourselves, you give a little bandhan to this center. This side. You can put the candle down if you're using it. You can bring the attention to the top of the head. We should always keep our attention at the top of our head, because that's where the connection happens. Unlike what we might have read in some books or heard some people say, it is not right to focus on the forehead or behind the forehead. One does not meditate upon the sixth center. We meditate upon the Sahasrara. So to quote Sri Mataji on this, there is no point in trying to look out the window because you cannot come out through the window. You have to look for the door, and the door is in the Sahasrara. That's where you're able to merge. That's where the drop becomes the ocean. And if there is anything that is blocking the path of the Kundalini at the level of the Agnya Chakra, you can use a forgiveness mantra, you can use a candle treatment, or any of the steps that we did today. And then we meditate in the Sahasrara. So let's meditate for a few more minutes. can conclude today's meditation. By raising the Kundalini 3 times and taking 7 bandhans. So hopefully you're all able to feel that silence in the Sahasrara. And if there was any blockage in the Agnya Chakra, perhaps you felt some clearing. Or maybe there was no blockage, so you didn't feel anything. That's fine too. But thank you all for joining today. And if you have any questions, you want to share any experiences, please do.
Thank you, Sudeep.
Thank you, Sudeep.
Thank you,
Thank
Sudeep
you.
and Rahul and everyone. God bless. Have a
Thank
beautiful day.
you. Have
Thank
a
you,
wonderful week.
everyone. Thank you, everyone. It was beautiful.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Hello, Sudeep.
Hi, Samir. How are you?
And how are you?
I'm good.
Jai Shri Mataji.
Jai Shri Mataji.
Yeah, thank you for this beautiful session.
Sure, you're welcome. Thank you for joining.
I wanted to ask a doubt.
Yes.
How in our daily life we go through different kind of challenges in work and in our normal life. So we are affected with our ego, superego. It's how we sometimes take a race decisions. We shout at person or because we are affected by our ego or super ego. We are not in our thoughtless awareness state to be calm or talk properly. How do you make your ego super ego balance so that you are not in that catches when you just witness those thoughts without reacting any of them?
Yeah, that's a good question. So when you meditate and you feel that silence of the Sahasrara, when you become calm within, that itself should that generally should start transforming you, and you have this knowledge even when you are, let's say, somebody says something that you don't like, or you feel like reacting. At the back of your mind, there is this knowledge that this is just me reacting, right? That there is the reality beyond this that I can easily access. So just being aware of that itself is helpful. So you are less reactive. And as far as anger is concerned, it can be something related to the Agnya, but it can also come from other chakras or interactions between chakras too, including the Muladhara. So the best thing is to watch yourself and see where this is coming from. Where is this reaction coming from? Is it me being upset with myself about something that comes out as this frustration? Is it wanting to keep some control that you're not able to? Is that what is causing this reaction? And do I really need to have that sense of control over others? And also, what does it? How does it work when I don't react that way? When I let people just be themselves, when I show forgiveness, or just when I say, it's okay, how does that change things? So it is a little bit complicated in that sense, but you can try different approaches than what is the most predictable, and see how that works for the other person and you. So I think it's a mix of like a practical way of handling things and your inner state itself. So I hope that helps.
Yeah, appreciate. But sometimes a person just says some words that makes you get angry or frustration, and you react to that matters.
Yeah, so it depends. Of course, you don't want to get dominated by somebody. That shouldn't happen. And if there is, let's say, some injustice, you do have to, respond to that and protest in your own way. So keeping the Agnya clear does not mean not seeing reality for what it is and doing something accordingly. But then that is different from constantly reacting. So if somebody is troubling you constantly, then that has to be addressed at a different level. It's not just trying to not react. You have to, if it's something at work, then you have to confront them and say this is not working, or maybe talk to a supervisor or manage it in a different way. If you can avoid such a person, that might be the best. Just avoid being with them, or because you can't change the other person. But it's important that you keep your sanity when you're away from that situation as much as possible. That itself might help you be more peaceful. I don't know what the specific situation is for you, but I think it depends on how you're able to manage that.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I hope. So the other thing is it happening with a specific person, or is it more of your habit? That's the other thing to check also.